Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Emma Malanathi. I'm your co-host, and this is Tanvir Anwar, your other co-host. And we're here to answer some of your questions and some challenges that you might be facing if you're towards the start of your spiritual journey, your spiritual path. So, over to you, Tanvir.
Thanks, Emma, for having me. Yep. So the thing is, whoever watching this show right now, so there are more fruitful and more valuable content which we have recorded for you. So please go and take a look those conversation. Definitely, it will help. And now on, we will proceed with the rest of the question we have. So yeah, Emma, you can proceed on.
Okie dokie. So, question number one for today is, do I need to do yoga, meditation, and then avoid unhealthy food as part of my spiritual path? This is something that I hear a lot from people, and it's kind of, if I'm having new students, some of them will say, yeah, no, I really need to give this up or that up, and I really need to do yoga more and this and that, and as though I'm not going to take them on as a student because they're not, kind of doing yoga every day and meditating for 5 hours and living a raw food diet or something like that. And it's no is the answer. The very simple answer. No, you don't have to do all of those things. What those things tend to represent for people are self-care, self-nurture, looking after your body, respecting yourself, and doing things for yourself that nourish you. It's not about having certain standards that you've got to live by or certain things that you must never have. It's all about balance, and it's perfectly all right to have a plate of chips if you're a Reiki master. I do meditate most days, but not always. We are still living in the world. It's about making sure that you take care of yourself. That's how I see it anyway. How about yourself, Tando?
Yeah, thanks, Emma. Yeah, you are right. So the thing is, we need to understand about our body and our mind first. So it is not doing yoga. It is not about doing meditation or some other voodoo stuff. So it's it's not like that. But the thing is, it is true that when you are starting realizing about your body, about your mind, definitely you will take a route which will lead to you some kind of physical activities and also mental activities, which we refer to meditations or similar type of practice. Sometimes people think that meditation is like closing your eyes, thinking about good things. Yeah, that's a form of meditation, but the thing is going out, exposing yourself into the nature, that's also a kind of a meditation which you are aligning with the nature. So it's help you to think in focused way. And regarding the yoga and other physical activities, I must say it is not only limited into spirituality, but for your well-being. In people need to be active. So whether someone doing yoga practice or some other physical activities or not, but I have some different opinion about physical activities. So when people are doing yoga, tai chi, qigong, this sort of energy healing based physical activities, it's not only help to make you active physically, but also increase the energy level from inside. So it has two benefits. So it's not only helping you to grow physically, but also energetically, it's also help a lot. But for other activities like going into gym, taking weights or running the treadmill, definitely it will help. But it's only helping you to unlock the physical activities which you were not doing before. So yoga is also similar type of things. So it's like you are twisting your body in some posture which will tune your energy centers along with the physical activities. So if someone is already into physical activities, I will say, okay, don't leave it. Carry on with that activities, what you are doing now, if it's a hiking or if it's going to the gym, whatever. But you can also introduce a little bit of energy healing based type of those exercise, what yoga, what qigong or tai chi offers. So it will help to grow your spirituality as well. regarding the meditation, you don't have to be on the floor mat and do meditation regularly. But what my belief is, when you will reach at certain stage of understanding, you will automatically go for those type of practice, like sitting for meditation or go outside thinking about the nature. It's happen automatically. You don't need to focus on like, okay, it's time for meditation, now do meditation. So it will be a spontaneous type of task which will come inside from your inner urge.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Tanvir. Completely agree. That's spot on. I think things, when you're starting out, it can be so tricky, can't it? Because you've got the monkey chatter going on and it's near the beginning of your path and you really want to get there. And it feels like the experiences you're having when you're trying to meditate are going to be challenging because you're not there yet. It's near the beginning. You're still not being able to necessarily get past the monkey chatter. And maybe those yoga poses are really difficult and you're finding it hard. You only really enjoy the bit at the end, the Shavasana at the end. But if you can find ways to do activity-based mindfulness as well, then that can help you to feel more of a connection with the practice and the value that it can bring to you. It can be a little bit less effort, and it can help you to connect with those states of balance and with energy as well. So one way that you can do this is to do walking meditation. And this means you don't have to find extra time for it. You can, if you go out for a walk during your lunch break, or even if it's just walking to the kettle in the office to make yourself a cuppa, what you do is you connect your attention really strongly with every aspect of movement and every sensation of your feet on the floor, your shifting weight, your breath going in, and you just very much notice it all. You don't try and concentrate and do it a particular way. You just notice it all. You send your awareness into your body and you connect with your feet on the floor and you notice, do they feel heavy or light? And you just let the experience be as it is. And what you're doing then, whilst you're doing that, is allowing your left brain, which is all about logic and achieving things and accomplishments. It's the monkey chatter bit of your brain, basically. You give that job to do, and it also helps to embody you, but you're giving it that job to do so that the creative right-hand side of your brain can step in and kind of have the floor a little bit more. And you might notice you start to get more ideas. You might start to feel like you're a bit more uplifted or like you're not worrying so much, because that kind of monkey chatter that keeps us on edge and feeling stressed, it's busy doing something constructive, something that's not going to elevate our sense of fight or flight. So we're going to feel better in ourselves and our bodies, and that creative side of our consciousness on the right-hand side of the brain is going to be freed up. It's not going to be pushed down by the other side of the brain. It's going to be able to do whatever it wants. And you'll find that that's a really good thing, a really positive thing spiritually. If you can balance left and right, that also kind of activates the pineal gland with practice. And that is the God spot. That's the consciousness. That is the bit that's kind of the sweet spot with meditation, really. And it's something that can be a really positive experience. So I've jumped ahead there, but yeah, walking meditation, really easy to do. You can also meditate mindfully with food and do the same thing, but walking meditation is really, really good.
Thanks, Ilma, for explaining walking meditation. Definitely people who are at a very beginner stage, they can think in that way, like, okay, I don't need to do certain type of stuff to achieve some level into the spirituality or something like that. But the thing is, what I have seen, there is a easy path which we are discussing about, and there is also a hard path. Like you can see about the Shaolin monk, what they're doing. So they're going through a very strict regime to achieve the enlightenment level in a very strict regime, and it also resonates something with the Hindu practitioners also go in the similar way. So they're going in the Himalaya and deep down into very intense meditation. I mean, that is also a valid path as well.
Yeah.
But as a beginner, you don't need to choose that path. If you want, you're more welcome to go and choose that path as well. But that's pretty intensive, and definitely you will get a quick and faster result in that way. But that doesn't mean that easier path is not good or
I think we need to, yes, I could, yeah, that's really well put, there. I think we have to be realistic, and we have to start from where we are. If we're right at the beginning and we're actually an adult, we've not been training for our whole lives in chi and spirituality, then we need to start from where we stand, really, and just build in these tweaks, these changes, these different ways of looking at things, and ease ourselves into it that way. And because otherwise we will hit brick wall after brick wall. It'll become too difficult for us, and we'll maybe get attached to the idea of no pain, no gain, that whole, and that's not what spirituality is about. It's not about it being hard. It is challenging, it is hard, but that's not the purpose of it. And that's not a sign that you're doing really well if you're doing really difficult things more than other people are doing, because then you're getting into ego and spiritual competition. And just be kind to yourself, be compassionate, start at the beginning and move. That doesn't mean to say that you should let yourself off and make it easy for yourself, easier than it has to be. But, be realistic and be honest with yourself, is my advice on that.
Yeah.
When I started meditating, I couldn't meditate. I tried doing the headspace thing and it just didn't work for me. I got really cross. I started feeling really, really cross and frustrated with the beginning things of that. I found at the beginning that the only way I could meditate was after yoga. I needed that physical practice to get me to the point of Shavasana, and then I could enjoy the meditation. And then I discovered a different guided meditation teacher. And that's kind of how I got into mindfulness, was through Tara Brach, who was a really great teacher, but she had a very different style. So it's finding what works for you and sticking with it.
Yeah, I just want to add what you just told. Not every type of meditation works with everyone. So some type of meditation I have tried. I mean, people told that, okay, go with that one or this one. But I always give it a try, but not all of those meditation resonate with me. And what I have found that, I mean, there are lots of meditation to do, but over the time, the number will reduce to something like 1 or 2 type of meditation in your regular practice. So it is like what resonates with you. So that's the thing. And another thing which I was telling you about, choosing the hard path or choosing more reasonable way to proceed. Generally, people tries to think if we choose the hard path, it would be a good way to go because I will reach to the enlightenment process very quickly, which we already talked about in our previous session.
Yeah.
So the thing is, people who are choosing the hard path, most of the time, they lose the track and they started to believe that, no, these things doesn't work.
Yes. They instant kind of enlightenment thing. It's very kind of, I'm on a fast track. I need to achieve this. I need to achieve enlightenment by 1 p.m. so I can then...
Yeah, so it's not happening. Right.
You need to have patience. That's the thing. It's one accomplishment. It's a journey, and it's trust and be patient. We've got one more question, Tanvir, and that is I don't know whether this resonates for many of our viewers or not, but I don't have time for all this. So what am I going to do now?
So that's a very good question. The thing is, what I have found that it's a very common argument for the beginners,
Yeah.
and it is also valid because they're shifting from one paradigm to another paradigm where they need to figure it out some slot for their mental growth. So that's completely understandable. But the thing is, as someone started to feel some changes from their inside or want to change their existing mental state, so that's mean he or she is much more aligned with spirituality, and definitely they will have some time to figure it out, to practice some sort of meditation or some sort of activities to grow spiritually. But it doesn't mean that you need to be confined yourself in a very strict regime that, okay, now do meditation, now go for yoga, now don't do this or don't do that, or these sort of things. What is needed is like understanding that, okay, as I am into the journey, so what it's required. So it requires your focus. As long as we are focusing into our spirituality or our growth or our thought, what we have discussed in our previous talk about focusing our thought and how it's going on rather than get entangled with our thought.
Yeah.
So that would be a very good start. And for a very beginner, I will suggest someone go with that process first rather than jumping into a strict regime of doing yoga practice, doing meditation. Just start to focus on your thought and see that how it's working. So over the time, you will see that your thought become more calmer than the previous state which you used to have. So when you achieve that kind of understanding, then you will also be able to figure out some time for yourself to go into some advanced stuff. So how you are thinking about that particular question?
Yeah. I think if somebody thinks they don't have time for it, I think that when I first read this statement, it felt like it was somebody saying this who had started to get a glimpse of what's involved, the kind of change, and then maybe maybe a bit of an excuse really to not have to make the changes and things like that. The reality of the spiritual path has maybe hit home a little bit, and maybe it feels a bit overwhelming too for them. Thank you. And what I'd say is it's not time. It's not time, it's change. It's doing things differently. It doesn't take any more time than any other way of being. It's just a different attitude, different set of priorities. And it's that internal change. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's learning to be patient. And I'd say if you have that approach, then it might be a good idea to schedule things, break it down for yourself, make it approachable, come up with a practical plan of what you're going to do and when you're going to do it, and maybe have achievable goals, ones that are manageable. Here we go. I'm going back into my project management training here. So get yourself some SMART goals. Okay. This will keep your logic brain happy as well. So gives you something to do that's going to be helpful and beneficial for you. It's going to be achievable. It's going to be time bound. It's going to be something that you can measure as well. So it might be meditating for 10 minutes every morning. You plan out, you look at what might get in your way of doing that, and you come up with a way to avoid those obstacles and what you will do if that obstacle turns up. You'll maybe have a plan B. And if it can be kind of outcomes rather than outputs focused. So what I mean by that is, what is it you want to get from the meditation? And if that meditation isn't possible on a certain day, and if it really isn't possible and you're being honest with yourself and you don't just want an extra lie-in in bed, okay? Because you've got to be honest with yourself, okay? If it really isn't possible, then what else are you going to do to achieve the same thing? And that might be light a candle and do some deep breathing. That might be listen to some music that you find helpful to you, that's maybe meditative. It might be going for a walk in nature, or it might be doing something creative. and find a different way to accomplish the same thing the meditation was going to help you with, and then go back to, just every morning. And here's another thing as well, Reiki's 5 precepts. So the first one really is just for today. So what we do is every day we decide we're going to do things a certain way. We decide we're going to not be angry. We're going to not worry, not let our minds go round and round. We're going to be grateful. We're going to be true to ourselves, and we're going to be kind. And we don't say we're going to do this forever. We say just for today. And then the next day we say just for today. And the next day and the next day. And that makes it possible. And I would say not having time for all this, well, maybe not, but maybe just for today you can do this one thing. That's my perspective anyway.
Yeah, thank you for recalling that, the principle of Reiki. So definitely that might be a paradigm shift for someone who get into spirituality. Thanks for recalling that principle. And along with that, what I would say, it's not for the spiritual practice, but being disciplined is the crucial thing. So whether you are in a spirituality or not, whether you are happy with your current state of belief, it's completely okay. But if someone is very much aligned with the discipline, definitely that will help a lot. So not growing in spirituality, but also grow in your life in every aspect. And the thing is, when people are into spirituality and discipline, it works like a charm to grow.
You need that discipline to make the change possible, don't you?
Right.
Really. Otherwise, ego gets in the way, little me. So one of the things that some people use to make change is anger. Anger is an energy that's all about changing things because something's wrong and it needs to change. Anger isn't sustainable. And you can't always get angry about things to make that change happen. It's just not, that's not how it works. So anger being put away to the back burner, as it were, discipline is what you need. It keeps you going. It keeps you going. And it also shows you that you're empowered. You're in the driving seat in your life. Maybe you don't want to do it, but you're going to do it anyway, You're not going to let that kind of laziness or that inner child that just wants to have fun and be lazy. You're not going to let them win because you've got more important things to do in your life, and you are going to do it. You're going to feel that way. You're going to do it anyway. And the more you do it, the more easy it becomes as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Emma, for explaining it. And so last couple of our session was on spirituality and on the issues what a beginner faces. In our next spirituality, if we work more about energy healing, so what's your thought on that?
Yeah, that sounds brilliant. Yeah.
More audience will like that part.
I think so. Yes, and audience, this is over to you as well. If you have any burning questions or anything you've just been really curious about around energy work, anything you'd like us to discuss or to cover in the next session, please just pop it down there in the comments, and we will read through and we will incorporate as many as we can. We want to hear your ideas. We want to know what you want to know.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for being with us today, and stay curious and stay focused. See you in our next session. Till then, bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.